Have you ever looked at your bank account and felt nothing? Like you should feel relieved because there's money there, maybe even enough to get by. But instead, your chest tightens, your stomach knots, and somehow you still feel broke. You're not alone. In 2026, this is the quiet crisis creeping into the lives of millions of Americans, Brits, and Australians alike. People who earn enough, save enough, but still wake up in the middle of the night wondering if it's all slipping through their fingers. I'm Clara Morgan, and today we're going to uncover some shocking financial truths about the typical American in 2026. The stats are brutal, they're uncomfortable, and yet they reveal something deeply human about how we handle money and why so many of us feel trapped, even when we're not poor. Let's start with income. In 2026, the average American household earns just over $85,000 a year. Sounds decent, right? Enough to cover bills, put something away for the future, maybe even splurge a little. But here's the kicker. The average household owes nearly $150,000 in debt. Mortgages, car loans, credit cards, student loans. And that number? It doesn't account for the creeping invisible debts we carry, credit card balances that we just pay the minimum on, medical bills that quietly pile up, and the silent drain of lifestyle inflation. Picture this. You just got paid, you've been careful, you even have a little cushion. And yet, by mid-month, that feeling of dread creeps in. You open your banking app twice, three times, just to check if somehow, magically, the numbers have changed. They haven't. They never do. And each time the anxiety grows. This isn't a flaw in you, it's the system, but also the mindset we've been conditioned to adopt. Housing costs have become a silent predator. In 2026, the median home price is over $400,000. Renters are spending nearly 40% of their income on apartments and houses. Even for homeowners with mortgages, property taxes, insurance, maintenance, these numbers eat away at disposable income faster than most people realize. And if you're thinking about retirement, this paints a terrifying picture because money that could go into a 401k, IRA, or even a simple savings account is being siphoned off just to keep a roof over your head. But here's what most people don't realize. Having money and feeling secure are two completely different things. You can make six figures and still feel like you're running on a treadmill that never stops. You can pay your bills on time and still wake up in the middle of the night thinking, what if I run out of money? What if something goes wrong? That fear, that gnawing uncertainty is psychological. It's not just your bank balance failing you, it's your brain interpreting risk in the most stressful way possible. Let's talk debt a little deeper. Student loans alone are holding back a generation of Americans, many of whom are now in their 30s and 40s, staring at retirement accounts that are far smaller than they imagined. But debt isn't just numbers on a page, it's guilt. The guilt of spending even $20 on a dinner out, the guilt of a small vacation, the guilt of buying something you need because you feel like every dollar you spend is a dollar stolen from your future. And this guilt compounds over decades, quietly teaching people that money isn't for living, it's for surviving. And here's where things get uncomfortable. The retirement crisis isn't about numbers, it's about habits and psychology. Americans in 2026 aren't failing because they don't know how to save. They're failing because the pressure, the fear, and the invisible weight of debt have created a paralysis. They underspend not because they don't have enough, but because they're terrified of spending at all. Even with money in the bank, even with investments that are performing, the thought of letting go, even just a little, is unbearable. Let's visualize it. Imagine Jane, 58, retired, or at least ready to retire. She has a modest 401k, a small Roth IRA, and a paid-off car. Her house is hers, mostly. But every morning she checks her bank account. She calculates bills in her head. She wonders if she should skip that morning coffee or that small dinner out because what if she runs out of money in 5 years, 10 years? The stress isn't from scarcity, it's from fear. And fear has a way of convincing your brain that no amount of planning is ever enough. But here's a twist most people overlook. The very statistics that terrify us also hold a key. Because yes, the median income is $85,000. Yes, debt is high. Yes, housing costs are crushing. But millions of people still manage to thrive. They don't have more income, they have more awareness. They understand the psychology behind money. They know how to manage fear, guilt, and anxiety so that it doesn't sabotage their life. They spend intentionally, save intelligently, and allow themselves to enjoy the very resources they've worked decades to build. Let's look at retirement. In 2026, over 40% of Americans over 55 have less than $50,000. That's scary. But here's the thing, retirement isn't just about hitting a number, it's about mindset. People who stress about running out often do so because they view money as a safety net rather than a tool. They hoard it, they underspend. And ironically, that fear can shorten the quality of retirement years because life is happening now, not in 10 years from now.
I want to share a truth that might feel like a relief. Checking your bank account repeatedly, feeling guilty about a small purchase, waking up at night worried about the future. These are all normal responses to a broken system and a conditioned mindset. You are not alone. And more importantly, you are not failing. You're human. And once you understand that, you can begin to shift. Here's how. Start by redefining what security means. Security isn't a number in an account, it's a sense of control and clarity. Track your spending, yes, but do it with curiosity, not judgment. Allow yourself small pleasures without guilt, because the brain remembers joy far longer than it remembers fear. Break the debt cycle methodically, focusing on the highest interest first, but don't forget to reward progress along the way. And most importantly, invest in yourself, knowledge, habits, and skills that make money feel like an ally rather than a source of anxiety. And here's another pattern most people miss. The more you face the uncomfortable truth about your finances, the more freedom you create. The fear that kept you up at night becomes a compass instead of a cage. Every small adjustment compounds. Every intentional choice builds confidence. And soon, the $85,000 median income, or whatever your number is, stops feeling like barely enough. It starts feeling like leverage, opportunity, a pathway to living fully instead of surviving cautiously. So, where does that leave us? For many, the numbers are shocking. Debt, housing costs, retirement shortfalls, they're all real. But the most shocking stat of all, the average American still doesn't realize the psychological cost of money is just as real as the financial cost. And until we acknowledge it, we keep spinning in place, anxious, underspending, guilt-ridden, exhausted. Imagine waking up, checking your bank account, and feeling calm. Not because there's a fortune, but because you know your money, your habits, and your choices are aligned. Imagine enjoying a meal out without guilt, traveling without panic, or finally letting yourself invest in the things that truly matter. That's not a dream, it's a shift in mindset, backed by understanding the real numbers, the real patterns, and the real psychology behind why most people feel broke even when they aren't. In the end, the statistics of 2026 are not destiny. They are a mirror, a reflection of habits, choices, and fears. And mirrors can be uncomfortable, but they can also guide change. The question isn't whether you make enough money, or whether debt is crushing, or whether retirement savings are small. The question is, how will you respond? Will you continue letting fear dictate your life, or will you face the truth, adjust, and finally feel secure, confident, and free? Because here's the truth, the most important stat of all. No matter what your numbers are, your peace of mind, your ability to enjoy life, and your confidence in the future, that's something money alone can't buy. But it's something you can build starting today.